Have you ever felt like the world was closing in on you? Like no matter how hard you tried, doors kept slamming shut in your face? Maybe it was that job you didn't get, the relationship that fell apart, or the dream that seemed to crumble before your eyes. You prayed, you worked hard, you hoped, but rejection became your constant companion. I've been there. I know what it feels like to sit in the silence of disappointment, wondering, why is this happening to me? Why does it feel like I'm being punished for trying? It's a heavy feeling, isn't it? That weight on your chest, the doubt creeping into your mind, whispering, maybe you're not good enough. Maybe this is all there is. But what if I told you that every no you've heard, every door that's been closed, every dream that's been delayed, isn't the end of your story? What if I told you that rejection isn't a punishment, but a redirection? A divine plan far greater than anything you could have imagined for yourself? This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a truth rooted in the wisdom of Allah. I learned this the hard way, through years of facing rejection everywhere I turned. But when I finally understood Allah's wisdom, everything changed. The pain made sense, the waiting had a purpose, and the rejection, it became a stepping stone to something far greater. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're tired of hearing no, or if you're just wondering why life feels so unfair, this is for you. Let's talk about how rejection can become your greatest teacher, and how Allah's wisdom is always working, even when you can't see it. Let's be real for a moment. Rejection doesn't just sting, it can feel like a full-blown attack on your self-worth. Whether it's a job application that gets ignored, a friendship that fades away, or a dream that feels like it's slipping through your fingers. Rejection has a way of making you question everything. Am I not smart enough? Not talented enough? Not worthy enough? Sound familiar? You're not alone in feeling this way. In fact, I'd bet that almost everyone in this audience has faced rejection at some point. Maybe you're a recent graduate sending out resumes, only to hear silence in return. Or perhaps you're someone who's poured your heart into a relationship only to have it end in heartbreak. Maybe you're an entrepreneur who's faced countless no's while trying to build something meaningful. Whatever your story is, I want you to know this. Your feelings are valid, your pain is real, and your struggles, they don't define you. I remember a time in my life when rejection felt like my shadow. It followed me everywhere. I applied for jobs I was more than qualified for, only to be told I wasn't the right fit. I reached out to people I admired, hoping for mentorship, but was met with silence. I even poured my heart into projects I believed in, only to watch them fall apart. It felt like the universe was conspiring against me, and if I'm being honest, there were moments when I questioned Allah's plan. Why is this happening to me? Why does it feel like I'm being tested at every turn? But here's what I've come to understand. Rejection isn't a sign that you're failing. It's not a reflection of your worth or your potential. Instead, it's often a sign that Allah is redirecting you. Think about it. If every door had opened for me back then, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have learned the lessons that shaped me or discovered the opportunities that were truly meant for me. So if you're sitting there feeling defeated, let me remind you, you're not alone. You're not forgotten. And you're certainly not being punished. Allah's wisdom is at work, even in the moments when it feels like everything is falling apart. The key is to trust the process, even when you can't see the bigger picture. Because here's the truth, rejection isn't the end of your story, it's just a chapter. And sometimes the most powerful lessons come from the pages we didn't want to write. So take a deep breath. You're not alone in this. And together, we're going to uncover the beauty in the struggle, the wisdom in the waiting. Let me take you back to a moment in my life that changed everything. It was a season of constant rejection, a time when it felt like every door I knocked on was bolted shut. I had just graduated from university, full of hope and ambition. I had a clear vision of where I wanted to be, a stable job, a thriving career, and the satisfaction of knowing I was on the right path. But life had other plans. I remember applying for what felt like hundreds of jobs. I'd spend hours tailoring my resume, writing cover letters, and preparing for interviews. And yet, time and time again, I'd receive the same email. We regret to inform you. Each rejection felt like a punch to the gut. I started to question everything. Did I choose the wrong field? Am I not good enough? Is this ever going to work out? One day, after yet another rejection, I found myself sitting in a park, staring at a tree. It was a massive, ancient tree with roots that ran deep and branches that stretched wide. I remember thinking, this tree has weathered so many storms. How does it still stand so tall? And then it hit me. The tree wasn't just surviving, it was thriving because of the storms. The wind, the rain, the harsh sunlight. They had all played a part in shaping it into what it was. That tree became a metaphor for my life. I realized that rejection wasn't breaking me, it was shaping me. Every no I received was like a gust of wind, forcing me to dig my roots deeper. Every closed door was like a storm, teaching me resilience. And every moment of doubt was like the harsh sunlight, pushing me to grow stronger. But here's the thing. I didn't see it that way at the time. In the moment, it just felt like pain. It wasn't until much later that I understood Allah's wisdom in all of it. You see, Allah doesn't just see where we are, He sees where we're going. He knows the plans He has for us, even when we can't see them ourselves. And sometimes those plans require us to go through seasons of rejection to prepare us for what's coming next. Think about it like this. Imagine you're baking a cake. You mix the ingredients, pour the batter into the pan, and pop it into the oven. But what if you took it out after just 5 minutes? It would be a gooey, half-baked mess. The cake needs time in the oven to rise, to solidify, to become what it's meant to be. In the same way, we need time in the oven of life to become who we're meant to be. And sometimes that means facing rejection, disappointment, and failure along the way. Another metaphor that resonates deeply with me is the story of Prophet Yusuf, AIS. His life was a series of rejections and trials, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned. Yet through it all, he remained steadfast in his faith, and in the end, Allah elevated him to a position of great power and influence. But here's the key. Yusuf, AIS, didn't just wake up one day as the treasurer of Egypt. He went through years of hardship and rejection to get there, and every trial he faced was a stepping stone to his ultimate destiny. This is the beauty of Allah's wisdom. He doesn't waste a single experience. Every rejection, every disappointment, every moment of pain is part of a larger plan. It's like a mosaic. When you're up close, all you see are broken pieces. But when you step back, you realize that those pieces come together to create something beautiful. So if you're in a season of rejection right now, I want you to think about that tree in the park. Think about the cake in the oven. Think about Prophet Yusuf, AIS, and his journey. Your story isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. The rejection you're facing isn't the end. It's the foundation for something greater. Allah's wisdom is like a masterful artist, carefully crafting every detail of your life. And sometimes that means allowing us to go through pain to reach a higher purpose. So trust the process, trust the artist, and know that every no you hear is bringing you one step closer to the yes that will change everything. Because here's the truth. Rejection isn't a dead end. It's a detour, a redirection to something far greater than you could have imagined. And when you look back one day, you'll see how every closed door led you to the one that was meant for you all along. Now that we've explored the deeper meaning behind rejection and how it ties into Allah's wisdom, let's talk about what you can do with this knowledge. It's one thing to understand that rejection is part of a bigger plan, but it's another to actively navigate it in a way that brings you peace, growth, and eventual success. Here are some practical, actionable steps you can take to turn rejection into a powerful tool for personal and spiritual growth. 1. Reframe your perspective on rejection. The first step is to change how you see rejection. Instead of viewing it as a failure or a sign that you're not good enough, try to see it as a redirection. Ask yourself, what is this rejection teaching me? How is it guiding me towards something better? Action step. Keep a rejection journal. Every time you face rejection, write down what happened, how it made you feel, and what you think you can learn from it. Over time, you'll start to see patterns and lessons that will help you grow. 2. Turn to Allah in prayer, dua. When rejection hits, it's easy to feel alone and forgotten. But one of the most powerful tools we have as Muslims is the ability to turn to Allah in prayer. Dua is not just a request, it's a conversation with the one who knows you better than you know yourself. Action step: create a daily dua habit. Set aside a few minutes each day to make dua, especially during times of hardship. Ask Allah for clarity, patience, and guidance. Remember the words of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nothing can change the divine decree except dua. Tirmidhi. 3. Focus on what you can control. Rejection often comes with feelings of helplessness, but the truth is, there's always something within your control. You can't control how others respond to you, but you can control how you respond to them. Action step: identify one thing you can improve or work on after each rejection. For example, if you didn't get a job, ask for feedback and use it to refine your skills. If a relationship didn't work out, reflect on what you learned and how you can grow from the experience. 4. Surround yourself with positive influences. When you're facing rejection, it's easy to fall into negative self-talk or surround yourself with people who amplify your doubts. Instead, seek out people who uplift and inspire you. Action step: build a support system of friends, family, or mentors who encourage you to keep going. Join communities, whether online or in person, that align with your goals and values. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone can make all the difference. Practice gratitude, shukr. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to the pain of rejection. When you focus on what you do have, it becomes easier to trust Allah's plan and see the blessings in your life. Action step: start a gratitude journal. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. It could be as simple as a kind word from a friend or a beautiful sunset. Over time, this practice will shift your mindset and help you see the bigger picture. 6. Take small, consistent steps forward. Rejection can make you feel stuck, but the key to moving forward is to take small, consistent steps. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be steady. Action step: set a small, achievable goal for yourself each week. For example, if you're job hunting, aim to apply to 3 jobs or network with 2 new people. If you're working on a personal project, dedicate 30 minutes a day to it. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds success. 7. Reflect on stories of resilience in Islam. One of the most powerful ways to stay motivated is to reflect on the stories of those who came before us. The lives of the prophets and Sahaba are filled with examples of resilience in the face of rejection and hardship. Action step: spend time each week reading or listening to Islamic stories of perseverance. Reflect on how these individuals faced rejection and what lessons you can apply to your own life. For example, think about how Prophet Musa faced rejection from Pharaoh, but remained steadfast in his mission. 8. Trust Allah's timing, tawakkul. One of the hardest parts of facing rejection is waiting for things to get better. But Allah's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own. Trusting in His plan is an act of faith that brings peace and clarity. Action step: when you feel impatient or frustrated, remind yourself of this verse from the Quran, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. 65.3. Write it down, memorize it, and repeat it to yourself whenever you need a reminder to trust in Allah's wisdom. 9. Celebrate small wins. In the midst of rejection, it's important to celebrate the small victories along the way. These moments of joy and accomplishment remind you that progress is possible, even when the road is tough. Action step: at the end of each week, take a few minutes to reflect on what went well. Did you learn something new? Did you take a step outside your comfort zone? Celebrate those wins, no matter how small they may seem. 10. Remember that rejection is temporary. Finally, remind yourself that rejection is not permanent. It's a moment in time, not a life sentence. Every no brings you closer to the yes that will change everything. Action step: create a visual reminder of this truth. It could be a sticky note on your mirror, a screensaver on your phone, or a piece of art that inspires you. Whenever you feel discouraged, look at it and remind yourself, this too shall pass. Rejection is never easy, but it doesn't have to break you. By taking these actionable steps, you can transform rejection into a powerful tool for growth and self-discovery. Remember, Allah's wisdom is always at work, even when you can't see it. Trust the process, take small steps forward, and know that every no is bringing you closer to the yes that will change your life. You've got this, and Allah's got you. Let's pause for a moment and acknowledge something important. Rejection hurts. It's not just a minor inconvenience or a fleeting disappointment. It can cut deep, leaving you feeling vulnerable, frustrated, and even broken. If you're feeling this way, I want you to know that it's okay. Your emotions are valid, and it's natural to feel this way when things don't go as planned. But here's the thing. While it's okay to feel the pain, it's not okay to let it consume you. The emotional challenges that come with rejection, whether it's self-doubt, fear of failure, or even anger, can feel overwhelming. But they don't have to define you. In fact, these emotions can become powerful tools for growth if you approach them with the right mindset. 1. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment. The first step in overcoming emotional challenges is to acknowledge how you're feeling without judging yourself. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I shouldn't feel this way, or I need to be stronger. But the truth is, feeling pain doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Action step. Take a few minutes each day to check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling today? What's causing these emotions? Write down your thoughts in a journal or talk to someone you trust. The act of naming your emotions can help you process them in a healthy way. Second, turn to Allah for comfort. When you're feeling emotionally drained, remember that Allah is always there for you. The Quran reminds us, indeed with hardship comes ease. 94:6. This verse isn't just a comforting thought, it's a promise from Allah. No matter how difficult things feel, ease is on the way. Action step, incorporate dhikr, remembrance of Allah, into your daily routine. Phrases like, La ilaha illa anta, subhanaka, inni kuntu minaz zalimin. None has the right to be worshipped but you. Glory be to you, I was among the wrongdoers, can bring immense peace during times of distress. 3. Reframe your struggles as opportunities. It's easy to see rejection as a setback, but what if you saw it as an opportunity? Every challenge you face is a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Think of it like a muscle. When you work through difficulties, you're building emotional and spiritual strength. Action step. The next time you face rejection, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience help me grow? Write down your answers and revisit them whenever you need a reminder of your progress. 4. Seek support when you need it. You don't have to go through this alone. Whether it's a trusted friend, a family member, or a mentor, reaching out for support can make a world of difference. Sometimes just talking about what you're going through can help you see things from a new perspective. Action step. Identify 1 or 2 people in your life who you can turn to when you're feeling overwhelmed. Let them know how they can support you, whether it's through listening, offering advice, or simply being there for you. Practice self-compassion. When you're dealing with rejection, it's easy to be hard on yourself, but treating yourself with kindness and compassion is crucial for healing. Remember, you're doing the best you can with what you have. Action step. Write yourself a letter of encouragement. Imagine you're speaking to a close friend who's going through a tough time. What would you say to them? Now say those same kind, uplifting words to yourself. 6. Focus on the bigger picture. In the moment, rejection can feel like the end of the world. But when you zoom out, you'll see that it's just one small part of your journey. Allah's plan for you is far greater than any single rejection. Action step. Create a vision board or write down your long-term goals. Whenever you feel discouraged, look at your vision board or read your goals to remind yourself of the bigger picture. 7. Embrace patience. Sabr. Patience is one of the most powerful tools we have as Muslims. It's not just about waiting, it's about waiting with faith and trust in Allah's plan. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "How wonderful is the affair of the believer, for his affairs are all good," and this applies to no one but the believer. If something good happens to him, he is thankful for it, and that is good for him. If something bad happens to him, he bears it with patience, and that is good for him. Muslim. Action step. When you're feeling impatient, remind yourself of this hadith. Practice sabr by focusing on what you can do today, rather than worrying about what's out of your control. Facing rejection is never easy, but it doesn't have to break you. By addressing your emotional challenges with compassion, faith, and intentionality, you can turn pain into growth and struggle into strength. Remember, Allah is with you every step of the way, and His wisdom is always at work, even when you can't see it. You are stronger than you think, and this season of rejection is just one chapter in your story. Keep going, keep growing, and know that better days are ahead. Let's talk about something that doesn't always get the attention it deserves. Consistency. It's not glamorous or exciting, but it's the secret sauce to long-term growth and success. When you're facing rejection, it's easy to feel like giving up or to get stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping. But the truth is, real progress happens when you show up, day after day, even when it's hard. 1. Start small, but start now. The key to building consistency is to start with small, manageable steps. Trying to overhaul your entire life overnight is a recipe for burnout. Instead, focus on 1 or 2 habits that align with your goals and commit to them daily. Action. Step. Identify 1 small habit you can start today. For example, if you're job hunting, commit to applying to 1 job or reaching out to 1 contact each day. If you're working on personal growth, spend 10 minutes reading or reflecting. Small steps add up over time. 2. Create a routine that works for you. Consistency thrives in routine. When you have a clear plan for your day, it's easier to stay on track and avoid distractions. Your routine doesn't have to be rigid. It just needs to work for you. Action step. Design a daily routine that includes time for your goals, self-care, and spiritual practices. For example, start your day with Fajr prayer, followed by 15 minutes of planning or journaling. End your day with reflection and gratitude. 3. Track your progress. One of the best ways to stay consistent is to track your progress. When you can see how far you've come, it's easier to stay motivated and keep going. Action step. Use a habit tracker or journal to record your daily efforts. Celebrate small wins along the way, like completing a week of consistent effort or reaching a mini milestone. 4. Stay accountable. Accountability is a powerful motivator. When you share your goals with someone else, you're more likely to follow through. Action step. Find an accountability partner, a friend, family member, or mentor who can check in with you regularly. Share your goals and progress and encourage each other to stay on track. 5. Embrace the power of discipline. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is what keeps you going when the going gets tough. Discipline is about making a commitment to yourself and sticking to it, even when you don't feel like it. Action step. When you're tempted to skip a day or give up, remind yourself of your why. Why did you start this journey? What are you working toward? Let your purpose fuel your discipline. 6. Be kind to yourself. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. There will be days when you stumble or fall short, and that's okay. What matters is that you get back up and keep going. Action step. Practice self-compassion when you face setbacks. Instead of beating yourself up, remind yourself that progress is a journey, not a destination. Building consistency and momentum is about showing up day after day, even when it's hard. It's about trusting the process and knowing that small, consistent efforts will lead to big results over time. Remember, every step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your goals. So take a deep breath, make a plan, and start today. You've got this. And with Allah's help, you'll achieve more than you ever imagined. As we come to the end of this journey, I want you to take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. You've learned that rejection isn't the end. It's a redirection. You've discovered that every no is a step closer to the yes that will change everything. And most importantly, you've been reminded that Allah's wisdom is always at work, even when you can't see it. Remember the tree in the park, weathering every storm to grow stronger and taller? That's you. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. Every rejection, every disappointment, every moment of doubt is shaping you into the person you're meant to be. As the Quran beautifully reminds us, so verily with hardship comes ease. Verily with hardship comes ease. 94:5-6. This isn't just a promise, it's a guarantee from Allah. No matter how difficult things feel right now, ease is on the way. So what's your next step? It's simple. Take action. Start small, but start today. Whether it's journaling your thoughts, making dua, or reaching out to a mentor, take one step forward. Remember, progress doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent. Here's a quote to carry with you. Rejection is not the opposite of success, it's part of the journey to it. Let these words remind you that every closed door is leading you to the one that's meant for you. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one thing you'll do today to move forward? Share it in the comments below or write it down in your journal. Let's hold each other accountable and grow together. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. Remember, you're not alone. Allah is with you, and so is this community. Keep going, keep growing, and trust that the best is yet to come. Because when you face rejection with faith and perseverance, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And that's where the magic happens. Now go out there and take that next step. You've got this, and Allah's got you. Share your thoughts or next steps in the comments below. Let's inspire and support each other on this journey.